Hello and welcome to our intro to Microsoft Teams for IT. This is a session to inspire and get some learning around Microsoft Teams for prospective ITs or students thinking about joining the IT industry around Microsoft Teams. With that, I'd like to invite Adam Levithan. He's one of our Microsoft MVPs, and he'll be addressing you guys today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Brett, and it's really exciting that questions are already coming in. So keep them coming, and hopefully at the end of the session we'll be able to answer some of them. So my name, as Brett said, is Adam Levithan. You can find me on Twitter. Here's my email, and for this, when I started my career, I was known as SharePoint Adam, and I was out advocating on the front line to adopt the technology and train people on the use. But what people didn't know is that I was involved in building out the infrastructure. Yes, hardware, Brett, it's okay. You can take a deep breath. That was supporting all the features. And while I've been doing SharePoint for 14 plus years, I was lucky enough to adopt Teams in the beginning at its earliest release and watch it grow and change. And so you're really here at a great time when Teams has all the features we're going to talk about to come in, change your career, get deeper into your career, and be involved with a really interesting, I'm going to even say, suite of solutions. And on my day-to-day basis, what I'm focusing on is building intranets, working on project collaboration, which is mostly Teams, and focused on building communication arenas in the intranet. But enough about me. Let's talk about where we are today. And I sort of like to talk about it as a technology transformation, sort of like what I just described to you, my own journey. We're on a journey from service management, which is, just a few years ago when administrators were focused on hardware, on infrastructure, on protecting security of specific devices at a specific location. And don't get me wrong, there's still opportunities to work with physical machines, but it's really not the daily expectation of an IT admin anymore. What we've now transitioned to is service management. And this is where an IT admin is focused not on keeping the lights on, but is focused on identity and content security and overall application performance instead of, is that battery or fan going to die in a piece of hardware? But what I want to do for this session is talk about what does Microsoft Teams mean in this technology transformation to the IT admin? Why do you want to do this, basically? So, one of the things is, as an IT admin, you're going to be able to affect organizational change. You're going to be able to help achieve goals. That's really great for satisfaction. You're no longer focused inward, but you're focused on how the solution can support the organization. At the same time, there are always those people coming in and asking, well, but I have to do this. I have to do that for a really good reason. And what the Microsoft 365 and Teams infrastructure allows you to do is customize for specific use cases. So you get to serve the greater good and then solve specific problems. Then also, Microsoft has really realized that there are other tools out there and it's okay to integrate with them. So you're not only going to be exposed to Microsoft solutions, but also best in breed solutions that your end users really want to use, and how to bring them in to the one central hub of teamwork that Microsoft Teams is. And finally, it's really important to me is the constantly learning. We have MS Ignite now, we have Microsoft 365 in 6 months, and every single conference we are learning new items. And so I want to say here also, if you want to learn about Teams specifically, this is a link that will give you all of the MS Learn resources about the specific details of Teams. So I think it's a really exciting time to be getting involved with all the technology. But before that, I want to talk about how Microsoft 365, which Teams is a part of, affects your business. Because this is the other exciting thing about service management. Again, you're serving the business compared to focusing solely on your IT activities. So if we look at the different activities that Microsoft 365 does, is secure. So again, controlling identities, managing all of your endpoints no matter where they are, automating. This is both for the IT admin and the end users. So you can make tasks more efficient, whether through scripting, building workflows, or a favorite, robotic process automation. All of those things can be applied across the board for all of the end users. Then we're talking about extending. So, this might be for developers, so forgive me bringing it up in an IT pro session, but even with all of the overwhelming features, you can have lots of different frameworks to use and customize and expand upon those Microsoft 365 features to, again, meet specific organizational needs. And then it's not only important to be able to do all this, but to be able to measure it. And, maybe as an IT admin, we think of tracking security, we think of tracking performance of whether it's hardware or an application to make sure that the system's working correctly. But what Microsoft is giving us are items like secure score, compliance score, productivity score that are taking holistic best practices and giving us dashboards to be able to see them and use them to make our business better. I think it's really exciting. Also, you'll notice that I skipped 2 areas, and those are the areas that Microsoft Teams plays heavily in. One of them is communication. So here, what we're focused on is one-on-one chat, is large-scale meetings. As you know, we're in one right now. Being able to communicate is a really big part about Microsoft Teams. Then, even greater is falling into the collaboration spectrum. And so here, you have the app that you install on the desktop, integrated with all of your Microsoft tools, making video calls, many-to-many chats, integrated with Outlook in your calendar, and accessing your files. And I think a big thing is being able to use Microsoft Teams, not only working internal, but external when you're working on projects with partners, customers, clients, whoever it may be. And something to point out here is that all of the solutions in the Microsoft 365 stack are integrated. So when you're working with files, you're talking about OneDrive and SharePoint backing you up. So all of those features that are available in those solutions are available also through the hub of teamwork that is Microsoft Teams. So enough about me talking about it. Here is an image of end user, and we do it with them. We have our channel, it's With Them Life, so fun pictures of weddings to, again, not only meet your business needs, but bring your culture forward. So I thought I'd share that's a little fun. And then let's go to the actual solution. Wrong button. All right. So here we have a demonstration environment of Microsoft Teams. And pardon me if you were familiar with this already. I just want to make sure I remind everyone on the call, maybe there are some newbies here, about what is possible. So here we have a team, which is an entity, and it is a group of people. And what you get is you get a team. Here you can see a project team. You get channels. You get tabs across the top of those channels. And you get to add other features into those tabs. And this is where you integrate with third-party applications, and it's really exciting. There are over 180, and I'm sure at Ignite right now we're announcing even more of those. Then what we also have is we have the chat feature that we mentioned before. So here's a one-on-one chat that I'm having with Alex. I also can have a chat with multiple people. So let's pick Adele, let's pick Megan, and I can introduce myself. And we can start that conversation. From here, we can instantly go into a phone call or a video chat with all of the participants. Also, speaking of calls, while not set up in this demo environment, you can connect your Teams fully to a phone system. So all of your phone calls come into here. I love it. In my Witham environment, I can see all of my voicemail. It reads it to me, or it changes it to text. So it's great. I have my contacts. I have my speed dial. Anywhere I go, there is the phone calls. Then, as I mentioned before, we have the files that are located in Microsoft Teams, so we can access them either from this tab or anywhere in those individual teams and the files tabbed within them. And that's all backed up by SharePoint when it's in a team, and when it's in a personal chat, it's backed up by OneDrive. So that's a really quick introduction to the user features. Much more to learn at the MS Learn, and all of the great sessions that are being held at MS Ignite. But I also want to talk to you about some cool updates. This goes into that constant learning idea. So the top picture here is, if you're an MBA fan, maybe you've seen it, that virtual attendees. This is all hosted in Teams. So those major video screens in Microsoft, in the MBA, are done by Microsoft Teams. That's really cool. Then we have a new Together mode, which is supposed to reduce the toughness of seeing all the square pieces, everyone over and over again, making it more like real life. Also, we have another view that is putting people behind a conference setting. So again, really making it like real life and being able to show everyone at the same time. So these features will constantly roll out in Microsoft, and that's one of the other exciting features. Now, when we talk about rollout, we talk about, IT responsibilities. And so in this case, I wanted to say, how does the IT admin support Microsoft Teams? Okay, you're saying, Adam, it looks pretty much like the same thing as how Microsoft Teams supports the business. Yeah, I kind of did that on purpose. It's true. It's very, very close to how the business is supported by Teams, is how you can support Teams itself. And so we're talking about being able to secure the environment. We're talking about being able to communicate with each other, communicate with the end users, even integrate a help desk. We're talking about meeting compliance standards, whether it's on chats, whether it's on those files. What you are looking at as an IT admin is the life cycle of a team. Maybe a team is for a department, so it's going to last, well, almost all the time. While if it's a project, maybe it'll only be a short period of time. And then just like we talked about looking at analytics, you can see analysis and see who's active in the organization and what they're doing there. So, really, the IT admin is not doing one thing. There are a lot of different pieces, and depending on the size of the organization, you might be doing all, or you might just be doing a few. But again, it gives you a lot of area to learn, to grow, and the system is always changing. Just like before with the end user piece, what I want to do is I want to be able to show you that in action in the demo environment. So here, back to the end user, I did want to go step through for one quick second, and we are talking about Microsoft Teams, but look at all the other admin centers. So there's a lot to do in Microsoft 365, but we only have enough time to focus right on Teams. So here we have a dashboard, your landing page of everything that's going on with Microsoft Teams. And actually what I want to do first is I want to start at the org-wide settings. Now, I think these are lower down because you only have to really do them once compared to other settings that you're actively using on a day-to-day basis. So here you can see external access. Are you communicating with Skype users or their only specific domains? Something that sounds similar but actually is vastly different is guest access. So are you able to allow people outside of your organization to come into Teams channels? So this is something that I highly recommend, but at the same time, you can decide if it's on for some and off for others. So we're going to allow people to be guests. We're going to allow them to make private calls, different meeting features, different messaging features. Everybody loves a Giphy, but do you want your external users to be able to use that? Then there are broad-based team settings and also other items that if you are currently using Skype, about being able to upgrade from one solution to the next. So very deep integration and your org-wide settings are down there. Then the next thing that's really getting popular now are apps. And so here we showed you in the end user experience that there are 180 apps that are in here. You can decide which apps are available. I actually, for the fun of it, if I spell it right, I uploaded a intranet app that we've created for one of our customers. I love the name Treehouse. So you can do a custom icon. It will tell you the different information about that app in case you're wondering. And what you can also do is you can set up a policy. So you can set up who is allowed to use that app. And this is when I talked about identity before, a lot of different teams and really other features within Microsoft 365 revolve around the ability to have groups of people and then be able to apply different policies to them. So you could say only a certain amount of people can see that Treehouse app, or you could say everyone can see it as a simple example. So, apps are a big piece of managing Microsoft Teams and gives, the business a lot of flexibility, again, to come to the hub of teamwork, but use not only Microsoft solutions, but any or most any solution that they want. Even in that, there is the ability to see users, to see what users are doing. So you don't have to go into a different admin center. And so here you do get some overall information about the individual. Again, if voice was turned on, you'd be able to see all of the different features. And you also get to see, what policies this person is in. So this is really important if you're troubleshooting, you're able to see if the person should even be able to do what they think they should be able to do. Very similar is the Teams tab. So working from an individual up to a specific team. So we looked at the market project team before. So as an admin, you can come in and you can see the overall information about the team. You can see who is included in it, what the channels are, what the settings are, all within one interface. So you don't have to go into the Teams app to be able to find those. And the last thing I want to show you, I actually got permission to show you a customer's environment because it's much more fun with usage analytics. So here we can see a usage report, and here all the different lines represent different pieces of activity that are in Microsoft. And so you can see how interactive this is. You can see specific projects and the usage of those specific projects. If you would like to, you can export it. You have different types of usage activity. Again, those phone calling, PSTN, device usage. So are people using it on their desktop, on the mobile, live event usage like we're doing today? So a lot of different capabilities, just much more fun than a demo environment being able to show it live. So you have all of those different features. And again, you might be working on one, you might be working on many. Also, if you're setting up conference rooms, you have setting up the phones and team rooms. It's a lot of different pieces to always be learning and always be doing different things. All right, back to, there's our little screenshot, but we'll go back to the videotape. That is the introduction to Microsoft Teams Essentials for IT. There's a lot to go through and there are a lot of sessions. And if you'd like to learn more, you can go to this link to teamsonlearn, all of the amazing different pieces of training that are available from Microsoft on Teams. So with that said, Brett, what questions do we have?
First, I want to ask you, Adam, what made you get excited about Teams? How did you get involved from SharePoint to Teams?
Well, actually, you know, I guess I'd like to step back if we're talking about people, well, I think are getting into the business or you know, just starting. I have a funny story that I was in the downturn of 1999, so I had to choose work to do, and I went back to school and I was introduced to SharePoint and thought it was kind of cool. So I just fell into it and started to learn more and more about it. I actually then trained on it, became a trainer, and then got a job in it, and the rest is history. That's it in SharePoint. So that got me into what I like to call the ecosystem. And so once in the ecosystem, I have to admit, you know, remember the name SharePoint Adam, I was looking at Teams and I was looking down my nose. Yeah, it'll never be better than SharePoint. No, never work. And as soon as really I saw the potential for using it for projects, that's what got me hooked. Oh, it really does have not only the information that SharePoint can give you, the files, and you can embed pages into those tabs, or as I had shown, you can make an app on the left-hand bar that is your intranet. But you really can reduce the time that you're in. And I have to tell you, while we have emailed, my email over the last few years of using Teams has reduced by 80%. And while I still probably have almost the equivalent amount of chats, the chats in Teams are actionable. And then again, you know, on the IT admin side, when I'm working and consulting with organizations, what I really like about being in the ecosystem is that you're making decisions about files and you're putting settings once, and they can affect the entire organization without you having to go into multiple places and to do multiple boundaries. So it's really, I guess, maybe even self-preservation that has kept me in Teams because it makes administration really easy and you know, supporting the business really easy.
Great. Here's one along your alley. Trish asked, is there a way to allow users to share files in Teams, parentheses SharePoint, but not entire folders?
Yes. Yeah, you can. It has the same exact capability to share the individual file. You just have to choose the specific link of that file and share to specific users, and they will not get access to that folder. Great question. And in Teams, the folder is usually the channel, so definitely.
Great. Here's one. I'm not sure you'll be able to answer it, but I'll give it a shot. Is there a possibility to use security groups for Teams group access instead of adding every user manually?
So yes and no. You can do that. One of the drawbacks currently is calendaring. And so you always have to add the individual users into those calendar invites. So actually, maybe that doesn't matter right now. But yes, you can use a security group for access into the team. Now, on the spot, there might be some caveats, depending, like I don't think it accepts dynamic groups yet. But if it's a manually created security group, yes, you can embed it into the team itself, I believe.
Great. Here's a very apropos question. Does Teams replace Skype for Business?
So quite literally, yes. Teams is built by originated from the Skype team. It is a much better solution, a lot more focused than Skype. Had great inheritance of on-premises, and now Teams is focused on cloud. So yes, the transition has begun. There is no specific end date, but Teams is the successor to Skype. And as I showed you really quickly, there are features even in the admin center to be able to help that transition to roll from Skype for Business to Teams, even on premises to the cloud. And something when you're doing that is to always have small groups of people, so you can have a vast majority of your organization still in Skype and have usually the IT team as the first testers, and then other groups of people to slowly move them into Teams. Great question.
Great. I think that's just about all the time we have. There are lots of questions still in the Q&A that are much more tailored to specific individual requests, so we will try to get through those as even after this is over. But I want to thank you, Adam, for joining us and telling us a little bit about you and about Teams and about what it's like, what the opportunities are to be a Teams IT in this new digital age.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.